What's up, guys? It's Patrick with Tactically Favorite, also known as Trigonometry on Instagram, and this is a Staccato XC. Real quick, guys, before we get started talking about this beautiful firearm, I want to send a shout out to my friend, a good friend of mine, Walter Rounsoville, who wrote this book, man. He's a lawman, former police officer, retired police officer in Atlanta. I recommend this book. This is actually his firearm. It has his initials on it. He lent it to me, one of the security guys in my church. So I want to send a shout out. Please, a great read, man. Check out Walter. All right, guys, what exactly is Staccato? Staccato is a company formerly known as STI that rebranded to Staccato from the great state of Texas, man.
Howdy, folks, and welcome to Texas,
which is where we are right now. In the past, they were aimed more towards competition shooting, but now they're kind of branded towards enthusiasts and law enforcement. But I would consider myself as an enthusiast. Let's get into it. Let's talk about it. Let's break it down. Like I told you before, I brought this from my friend Walter Rounsoville. We talked about his book, and I'll get him on the show. But I want to talk about why I like this particular firearm. This is my favorite firearm in the whole Staccato line. I mean, from the old Staccatos into the new ones. This one was actually purchased by Walter just like this. So he bought it with the SRO on it. The way you see it, he even has his initials on it and lead the way. Walter Rounsoville right there. So it's kind of customized by Staccato. Want to get into the things I like most about it. You know, we always talk about pros and we always talk about cons. There are not a lot of cons. There are a whole bunch of pros. One of the cons and pros are the same, but we'll talk about that a little later. So let's talk about what I like about it. First of all, I know I say this a lot, but if you just look at it, it's sexy. I can look at this all day. This is a sexy firearm. It's a good looking firearm, which kind of swings over to the ergonomics of it. One of my favorite parts about it is slide serrations. The slide serrations in the front are ported. You have slide serrations in the back, but they look good as a design on this firearm. Secondly, probably the most sexiest thing on this firearm is the port in the front. So in the 2011 world, we pretty much call this a Genghis comp. It's integrated with the barrel, so it's no separation. The comp is not the only thing ported. The barrel is also ported, so it leads for light recoil. I don't get a lot of up and down when I'm firing, so I get less of this, less flippiness, and more of this. So it works real fine. I shot a lot of comps, and this works real good for this gun. And let's talk about it. Since I just racked the slide, we did check and see if this gun is unloaded. The slide is immaculate, guys. It's immaculate. If you never shot a 2011, if you never shot a Staccato, I recommend it. But when Walter let me borrow this gun, I ended up just doing this all day. So Walter, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to beat your gun up, but thank you for letting me use it. So the ergonomics is one of my favorite parts of it. The comp, we talked about the comp and integrated barrel. We talked about the slide serrations, which also makes his gun looks perfect. Let's talk about Walter's setup. SRO. So SRO was pretty much aimed for competition shooting. Water window. It's not meant to be beat up like the RMRs. I love the RMRs. You see, I have plenty of RMRs, but it's not meant to be beat up like the RMRs. But it serves its purpose. I think Walter bought this from Staccato with the SRO on it. He also bought it with the X300. Is that a turbo? X300 turbo. Can't go wrong with that. I love X300s. I told y'all why I don't carry them on my firearms because of my man parts, but I think I'm getting ready to start switching and carrying the X300s. We'll see. Let's talk about the trigger. The trigger is two things that I did with the trigger. I had a negative side of it, which was a con, and I had a positive. Now hear me out. I love the trigger. It's absolutely amazing. But if you don't train with it, there is a flaw to it. And this is my experience, and your experience may be different. So the trigger is very light. I mean, The website says 2.5 pounds, and I'm not gonna lie, guys, it feels lighter than that. But that's a pro. Um, it helps with smoother shooting, faster reaction times. But the con I had with this firearm and the trigger is not being used to firing this firearm. The trigger is so light that if I keep my hand on the trigger for reset, I ended up firing 2 shots sometimes. So I would be like bang bang when I'm only trying to fire 1 shot. It's only a con if you don't train with it. If you train with it, I think it gets better. But that is a light trigger. But I love it. I love it. But I had to give it a con because I kept firing 2 shots when I was trying to fire 1. Could be user error. Oh well. Guys, let's also talk about the grip. I love the stippling on this grip. It's pretty, almost like a skateboard. It doesn't move around. You know, I shoot with gloves, and it's pretty sticky. So I don't have anything negative to say. I like the star. To me, I didn't do the research on the star, but to me, it represents Texas.
Don't mess with Texas.
So that Lone Star, and maybe that's why they put it on there. Who knows? But it's real sticky, guys. It doesn't move around a lot. It's not gonna move around anyway because I don't know if it's the comp and the trigger or it's just the entire gun. The gun doesn't move much at all. It's not like a flippy gun. So that texturing is perfect. Also, the magwell is pretty beefy. I'm a magwell fan. Y'all know I like Edgar Sherman's magwells. Is my favorite magwell. Edgar, send me something, man. I'll take some magwells if you got it. But it's pretty beefy. This comes from the competition world, guys. Remember that if you're a competition shooter, where you have to, if you can't get the mag out, if you need to get it out fast, they put some cuts in here. Let's try a different magazine. So that was pretty much flush. If that wasn't dropping, I can grab it and pull it. So that's why they put these cuts here. But it's pretty beefy, almost standard. If you look across the board on 2011s, it's pretty standard. I've seen these on the Atlas. Atlas is a little different, but I mean, 2011s from STI on, they all pretty much look the same to me. So I'm gonna do a comparison. I don't have an Atlas. I don't have $8,000 or $10,000 to buy a gun, or else I wouldn't be married, guys. But trust me, it's coming. She won't know about it. We'll sneak it in on her. But I do own Rock Island. Technically 1911 because they can't say 2011, but it is a double stack. And it's not, I'm not trying to compare this to this because this is not oranges and apples. This is not even bananas. It's not even close, guys. But what I wanted to show is that pretty much across the board, the 2011 mags, STI mags, or the Staccato mags can fit most 2011. So that is mine. And that looks pretty sexy. Same thing with the mag that came from that was hard to pull out. Let's try that again, guys. Still kind of hard to put out, but it works. It shoots. So that's my Rock Island. We're not going to talk about it. Just want to compare it to it. That mag also fits in the Staccato mag. So pretty much, I'm not sure about Atlas. I'm sure Atlas mags will fit that or vice versa. All right, what are the biggest pros to me, if not the biggest, is the ergonomics of this firearm. It's like driving a Mercedes versus driving a Ford Escort. If you're old enough to remember what an Escort is. Ford Escort, Mercedes AMG. I'm sorry, Rock Island. I do love your firearm. I still own it. But this is everything I need. It's leather seats. It's turbocharged by turbo. Triggers a turbocharger. We talked about that. It's everything I need. It's just beautiful, guys. It's hard to even put words to it. The comp is another thing that's a positive to me. It works. It works. It works. It works. It keeps me flat. It makes me fast on this firearm. It's almost cheating if I put a new shooter behind this and ask him to be fast and throw him through some drills. He's gonna look like he knows what he's doing. And talk about some of the cons. Con number one was the trigger. We went over it. The second con is extremely expensive. So Walter, friend of mine, purchased this gun. I think it's about $4,000. But the way it's set up with his name embroidered in it or sketched in it, the light and SRO, it's about $5,000, y'all. It's a lot of money. $5,000. I would probably buy me a HK 416 or kind of build one. maybe MR556 and make it look like a HK416. But $5,000 for a pistol is a lot of money. But you have to be an enthusiast. You have to love it. And I do love it. And I would pay $5,000 for this gun. Once again, don't tell my wife. Then the last gun I have is, from what I heard, the wait times have changed, but in the past, extremely long wait times for them to build this firearm and send it out to you. I'm not sure how long Walters took, but I've heard 2 months, I've heard 6 months, I've heard a year. It's almost like waiting for a suppressor. I'll probably wait for my suppressor, and actually those times are shortened up. But wait times, it's not a big issue if you are enthusiast. I have several other firearms I can go to the range and shoot. I think by the time you get it, it's well worth the wait. But for some, it may be a con to have to wait on it. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Do me a favor, please like and subscribe. Also follow on Instagram, Trigonometry. We'll put that right here. And hope you enjoy the range footage. Let's go to the range.